Hi, everybody. It's 1 o'clock, and I am back on a beautiful Wednesday. The sun is shining, and I am super excited about today's lesson for you. This is another one that I do quite often with my kiddos in my class. I am really excited about the text that I'm using today because I'm going to share with you a book that is one of my very favorite books in my entire library. And I think you're going to be a little surprised with the book that I share with you today and finding out what it is, because it may be a little different than what you're expecting. So what you're going to need today, you are going to need paper and pencil, and you will probably also need art materials in some way. So probably crayons, colored pencils. If you want to use marker, that would be fine too, because you are actually going to do something and then illustrate it at the end for your extension activity. And I cannot wait to see what you come up with. So let's go ahead and get started today. I am bringing out my lesson for the day. Are you ready for it? It is, and don't act like that you're disappointed whenever you see it. It is haiku. So haiku is a type of poetry. And it is a type of poetry that is very specific because it has to follow a couple guidelines. It is poetry that is quite old. It was developed in Japan, and lots of boys and girls are asked to do haiku for their teachers at school. But I guess you could technically do haiku on anything, but if you do a true haiku, it has to follow this guideline. First of all, I'll write it on my board back here. Make sure that everybody can see. Okay, so in order for a haiku to really be a haiku, the first thing is it has to follow something very specific. It has to follow what is known as a 5-7-5 format. Whoops. Make sure I spell that correctly. So it has to follow a 5-7-5 format. What does that mean? 5-7-5. That means there are 3 lines in this poem. The first line is 5 syllables. The second line is 7, and I'm going to tuck this down a little bit so that everybody can see a bit easier. There we go. 7 syllables. And then the third line is another 5 syllables. So if you follow this format, you have written a haiku. The second thing that you have to make sure that you follow for a true haiku, again, you could probably write it on anything that you wanted, but a true haiku is about nature. And that goes perfectly with spring. So lots of boys and girls are often asked to write haiku during the springtime because it is, there's so many things going on in the spring, or really about any season. You know, you might see winter haikus hanging up in the hallway with teachers, things that are happening with the weather outside. So we are going to practice writing a haiku together about something that is very near and dear to my heart, something that is living here in a little bit. But that is after I share a couple examples of some haiku books that I have. So the first one I'm going to share, I like this book, but it is not my favorite. That one is coming here in just a second. And this book was actually written by a group of students who were fourth graders at the time at St. Mary's Catholic School in Mansfield, Massachusetts. And this book is called Haiku Hike. Every year, Scholastic Publishers does they do a book contest where students at a school are able to submit a book and see if it ends up getting published by them. And I own several in my classroom, but this is one of them that I use quite a bit. It was the winner in 2005. So quite a while ago, before many of you were even born. So these kiddos were probably, let's say, about 10 at the time. This was 15 years ago. So they're in their mid-20s now, the ones that helped write this book. I wonder what they're doing now. But this class went out and went on a hike, found things in nature around them, and then wrote haiku about what they saw, along with some nonfiction field notes. So for example, it says, look at that waterfall. Let's write a haiku about it. So here is their haiku. It says, loud rushing waters, 5 syllables. Tripping, splashing into mist. There's 7. Furious rapids, 5. So as you can see, the haiku that they wrote doesn't say waterfall anywhere. The title maybe would be waterfall, but I don't see the word waterfall anywhere in what they wrote about. So another thing with a haiku that I'm going to write on my board right now is it's descriptive without necessarily saying what it is that is being described. Just clicked on my screen here. There we go. So the second thing, let's see if we can, might tilt that down for another second. And this really follows or describes poetry in general. It has to be very descriptive, because if it's not, poetry is usually much shorter writing formats than an entire book. So if you are writing a poem, you need to make sure that you are using that descriptive vocabulary like what we practiced already this week. There's a reason I did vocabulary before I did haiku. Think about it. So you have to be descriptive in the words that you are using in order to truly describe and paint that mental picture for people that are reading your writing and seeing what it is that you are writing about. So back to my book here. It says, loud rushing waters, tripping, splashing into mist, furious rapids, and then the field notes. So this is some nonfiction text that they added to this book. It says, waterfalls form when streams pass over layers of hard rock and fall over unsupported drops. Erosion occurs as the water wears away at rock and soil as it flows. And Angel Falls in the country of Venezuela is the tallest waterfall in the world. It falls 3,212 feet. Okay, so one more that I'm going to share to you in this book is about this tree right over here. And it says, I wonder how old this oak tree is. So now they're going to describe the oak tree. Notice at the very end, they do say it, but I think this is on purpose because of what they have said at the beginning of this line. It says, crisp leaves glistening, purple acorns bursting out, the mighty white oak. Field notes, white oaks have short trunks but can grow to be 60 to 80 feet tall. And these trees can be found from Maine to northern Florida and in several other states. The bark of the white oak is often up to 2 inches thick, and some white oaks have lived for 800 years. So with our poems describing what they are seeing in nature, they are giving some additional information. That's just how this book was set up. So there are a couple examples here written from Haiku Hike. Now, the text that I'm going to share with you right now is the one that is one of my very favorites, and it has been taped. It is falling apart, as you can see. And I just found this book, I think it was when I was student teaching, so about 14 years ago. I probably need to get another copy of it because it is falling apart. But this book is called If Not for the Cat, written by Jack Prelutsky. And Jack Prelutsky, some of you, and illustrated by Ted Rand. Jack Prelutsky is known as a very funny poet. He has written so many poems that boys and girls read in class in different poem books, and they're usually funny. They make people laugh and silly ideas. Well, this text is very different, in my opinion, than normal Jack Prelutsky. This is an entire book of haiku. And what is so great about this book that is that every one of these haiku are about a different animal. But it doesn't say in the title what the animal is. So I usually make boys and girls guess. So if you are watching right now and you would like to try to throw it in the comments what you think the animal is that is being described, I will put it up in the picture then. I'm not going to share every one of these with you, but I'm going to share several. So the first one is where the title of the book comes from. And it says, if not for the cat and the scarcities, I could be content. Scarcity means the lack of cheese. So if it wasn't for the cat and not having enough cheese, I could be content. I could be happy. And that, here's your freebie, is the mouse. See the kitty? Poking its nose in, saying, hey, except for Mitty. My kitty, Carrie, and I told you last week a little bit about her. One time, I witnessed this personally. She was chasing, years ago, a mouse in our house. I woke up, I got up, it was in the middle of the night, and she eventually got nose to nose with this mouse. Like, I'm talking about this far away. They were sniffing each other. And I was watching this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, well, what's she going to do? You know what she did? Nothing. She sat and watched that mouse run away. It was like she just said, bye. She didn't care. And now if you ever hear a mouse in our walls or something around here, she doesn't even wake up. She doesn't care. Kitties. I don't even know what to do with her. She's such a piece of work. Let's see. Another one. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. Boneless. Translucent. Translucent means see-through. We undulate. Undulate. That's one of my favorite words. To undulate means to float up and down like this. We undulate, undulate gelatinously. Whoo! Gelatinously has the word gelatin in it. What do we think that could be? Something boneless, something you can see through, something that can float up and down, and something that's like gelatin. You ready? It's a jellyfish. This one, I am slow, I am. Slowest of the slow I am. In my tree I am. tree, and slow. A sloth. I'll read two more. Oh, so many of these are so good. It's hard to pick some. Ooh, I like this one. Don't think about it. Just leave the vicinity. A vicinity means the area you're in. If you hear my tail. So what do you think that is? Don't think about it. Just leave the vicinity if you hear my tail. So vicinity, the area, better leave quickly, and that tail gives it away. It's the warning that says, I know you're here. I really don't want you here. I really don't want to do anything to you. But if I feel threatened, watch out. Because I am a rattlesnake. One more. Okay. And this one I have read so many times, I have a big piece of tape on it. It says, when I raise my tail, expressing my displeasure, showing I don't like something. Even wolves make tracks. To make tracks means to run super quickly. So even wolves run away when I raise my tail. So what do you think raises its tail? A stinky skunk. I have heard that skunks, once they spray, cannot spray again for quite a while because they have to hold it in their pouch underneath their tail, or they have to build up the scent again in their tail. So you just don't want to risk it. Has that skunk sprayed lately? Maybe, maybe not. I'd run away just in case. Okay, so those are some good examples of haiku that follow the information that I've written back here for you, that they follow that 575 format about something in nature. So something living, it could be the web, it could be something living, but it may be something that you just see outside. It could be something about the weather or something growing outside, which technically is something living. But as you noticed, descriptive language, words that are out of the ordinary words. And you have to be very thoughtful in your process because you only have a total of 17 syllables to get your idea across in a haiku poem. So we are going to write one. I'm going to write an example for you. If you want to write this one down, you can. But I am going to think about and start by brainstorming something that is living that I know very, very well. And that is my kitty that I just told you about, my goofy kitty Carrie, who I love so much, but she's a piece of work, let me tell you. And she's currently sleeping in my closet as she is every single day. Okay. Oh, my eraser dropped. All right. My kids at school are so used to that. My markers go flying everywhere, so I have to go get it. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. I'm so bad about that. Sometimes I think the problem is I talk with my hands so much that sometimes things just kind of fly out because I'm waving like I'm bringing in an airplane or something. Oops. So, okay. So I'm going to start by brainstorming about Carrie. So we know she's a cat. So she's something living. I can write a haiku about it. So I'm going to come up with some words to describe her that I would use, but I'm going to try to use some very good words, words that are not overused, not our junk words that I talked about earlier this week. So I'm going to say that she is She is, let me think. Well, she's sleepy. She loves to cuddle. Oh, she loves to purr. She sometimes trots through the house. She doesn't really run very fast, but she will trot, which is a better word than run. But sometimes if she gets scared, she will scamper. She will scamper away so that she can go and hide. Another thing that she does, she will sometimes lap up her water. That's a better word than drink. So she will lap water. What else will she do? She will gobble treats. She gets treats usually a couple times a week. So she has been known to gobble up, I call them her treaties. What else does she do? Oh, she loves to, she stretches. She will do her big cat stretches. And then I'm going to come up with a couple that describe her personality too. She is, unfortunately, she's a scaredy cat. So she can be fearful. And with that, she may not trust people very much. So she is untrusting. Takes a long time for her to get used to you usually. Let's see. She's very, very sweet when she does trust you. So I could say that she is loving. So I have some good words to describe my kitty cat now. And I'm going to use these and put them into a haiku that I'm actually going to move this over here. And I'm going to write my little haiku right here about her. So I'm going to title it My Girl, because it's the name of a poem. I'm going to put quotation marks around it. So I'm going to start, and I need to make sure that I'm counting all of my syllables. So let's see. I think I'm going to start with sleepy cuddles. I like sleepy and cuddle together. So if you have a suggestion, go ahead and throw it in there. Sleepy and cuddle. That's 4 syllables. Sleepy cuddle. Sleepy cuddle cat. That'll work. Okay. Sleepy cuddle cat. So there's my 5 syllables. I'm just going to write 5 up here so I know. The next one I need is 7. So I've used sleepy and cuddle. I love scamper. Scampering away from scampering away from, or scampering, untrusting scampers away. Untrusting scampers away. And I'm going to put a comma after we're untrusting to say, oh, she's not trusting. So she scampers away. So I'm going to take that out and that. And then I like loving purrs. Loving purrs stretches. Stretches, loving purrs. So this is my last 5. All right, so let's see what I have here. I have my girl, sleepy cuddle cat, untrusting scampers away, stretches, loving purrs. If you didn't know my kitty, you could pretty much figure her out. Lula, I see you're laughing. Yeah, I know. That would probably describe her very, very easily, though, but if you didn't know her, you would be able to tell some of her personality, that she loves to sleep, she loves to cuddle, but she's fearful. She doesn't trust people. But if she does trust you, she shows you by all her stretches and her loving purrs. So luckily, that's what I get to see every day. And that's what my husband Ian gets to see too. And if you would ever get to see it, consider yourself lucky, because not many people do. Okay. Now, since we have that done, my challenge for you today, I want you, if you want to write this one down, please do so. And as I said, if you need some suggestions, go back, watch what I have in my lesson today to get some ideas for you to broaden your vocabulary. But think about what my suggestions were. Number 1, has to follow that 5-7-5 format. Okay? 17 syllables is all that you have to describe something in nature. Something that is an animal, something that has to do with the weather, something that you see around you. Also use that descriptive language. You don't want to take your syllables with some junk words. You need to make sure that you are using really good vocabulary to describe something. So I want you to challenge yourself, make your own haiku, and then I want you to illustrate it. That can go along with your vocabulary flower that you made with me earlier this week. Put it up in a window, put it on the refrigerator, show that it is something that maybe you are seeing right now in your home or outside on a beautiful day like today. Around here, it's supposed to be sunny and in the mid to upper 60s. So I hope you are able, even if you have been asked to stay home, as we have been here in the state of Indiana for the next 2 weeks, I hope that you're able to get outside and play in your yard or go for a walk or a bike ride around your neighborhood. Make sure you social distance, though. That's the reason that we are doing what we're doing, to try to make sure that we stop the spread of that yucky virus. So until tomorrow, I cannot wait to see what you come up with. Post it in the comments, and that's it for today. So I will see you tomorrow. I will look forward to seeing what you do. So until then, two little poodles. Goodbye. Go outside. Enjoy the day.